But when the regime falls, and it's not if, it's when, the people of Iran will have a new chance, I hope, to start anew. I don't know what will happen, but I know it will be their decision. It's not our decision. America's not going to go in and run Iran. We're going to try to take down a terrorist regime that is bent on our destruction. They've been building missiles 100 a month. The goal is to hit us. They've been supporting Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis since 1979 to kill Americans. The IEDs used in Iraq and Afghanistan coming out of Iran aimed to kill thousands of American servicemen. And they were made by the Iranians, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and Quds Force. This regime is a cult of death. President Trump, after a sincere effort to bring this conflict to a peaceful conclusion, concluded that to continue to allow this regime to move forward would put America at unacceptable risk, and he was right.
Members of the Senate, this is war. The President of the United States has called it a war against Iran. The head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Kane, has called it a war against Iran. Secretary Rubio, our Secretary of State, has called it a war against Iran. All of the excuses that you've advanced to give the president an easy pass around the Constitution and suggest he needn't come to Congress all evaporate because this is a war. It's a war.
6 Americans have already died for an illegal war that no one in this country wants. 900 to 1,000 people in the region have died. U.S. embassies all over the region are under attack. Thousands of Shia Muslims in Pakistan right now are protesting, a Shia insurgency targeting the United States in the works. Iranian missile and drone attacks have hit targets as far away as Cyprus. Oil prices up by 9%. Gasoline prices, their largest one-day increase in 20 years. Natural gas prices up 45%. The region is in chaos. American consumers are paying the price. And for what? We still don't even know the reason for this war.
On this, the yeas are 47, the nays are 53. The motion to discharge is not approved.
The cost of United States war on Iran is staggering. According to estimates compiled by Anadolu Agency, the U.S. military has lost nearly $2 billion worth of military equipment as the war with Iran entered Day 5 on March 4th. Reports suggest that hardware ranging from high-end early warning radars worth over $1 billion to fighter jets, satellite terminals, and critical communication systems, which once formed the backbone of U.S. military power, now lies in ruins across the Middle East. The biggest loss comes from Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the U.S. military's largest installation in the region, which serves as a nerve center for any U.S. mission in the Middle East. At Al Udeid, a U.S. AN FPS-132 early warning radar system was hit by an Iranian missile strike on February 28th. It was valued at a whopping $1.1 billion. Qatar confirmed that the radar was hit and damaged. The next day, on March 1st, 3 F-15E Strike Eagles fighter jets crashed mid-air. The U.S. military said the jets were lost in a friendly fire incident involving Kuwaiti air defenses, and all 6 aircrew members survived. The cost of each jet is nearly $100 million. Amid the ongoing war, Iran heavily pounded the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet headquarters in Manama, Bahrain, destroying 2 satellite communications terminals and several large buildings. Open-source intelligence reported that the targeted SATCOM terminals were identified as AN/GSC-52Bs, which approximately cost $20 million, factoring in deployment and installation costs. Iran has also claimed a direct hit on one of America's most advanced missile defense assets, the AN/TPY-2 radar, a critical component of the THAAD anti-ballistic missile system deployed at Al Ruwais Industrial City in the United Arab Emirates. This radar is not just another piece of equipment. It is designed to detect and track ballistic missiles at long ranges, feeding real-time data into the U.S. missile defense network across the region. Open-source satellite imagery appears to indicate that the site was struck. If confirmed, the damage would be severe. The AN/TPY-2 radar alone is estimated to be worth around $500 million. All these damages total an estimated $1.902 billion in U.S. military assets across the Middle East. Iran retaliated strongly and unprecedentedly after joint U.S. and Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and eliminated several high-ranking military officials. In response, Iran has so far targeted at least 7 U.S. military sites across the Middle East. The U.S. Fifth Fleet's headquarters in Bahrain, Camp Arif Khan, Ali Al Salem Air Base, and Camp Buehring in Kuwait, Erbil Base in Iraq, UAE's Jebel Ali Port, the U.S. Navy's largest port of call in the Middle East, and Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. Other than military installations, U.S. diplomatic missions in Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Kuwait have also been targets of strikes. On March 4th, the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, was hit by 2 drones, causing limited fire and minor material damage to the compound. According to the Washington Post, the CIA station inside the compound was also hit. The U.S. Consulate General in Dubai, UAE, was hit by an Iranian drone that struck a parking lot adjacent to the Chancellery building, resulting in fire. In Kuwait, the U.S. Embassy was attacked with drone and missile strikes, forcing the embassy to close until no further notice, with non-essential staff and families being evacuated.
The Iranian forces, including the IRGC, are hammering the U.S. military all across the Middle East, despite heavy bombardment at home. According to the New York Times, citing satellite imagery and verified videos, critical military communication infrastructure worth billions are now reduced to ashes in at least 5 Middle Eastern countries. Iranian missiles and drones have shredded through air defenses, danced past interceptors, and ignited fires near military hubs, oil ports, and logistical centers. Radar systems used to track incoming ballistic missiles, satellite dishes, and radomes that protect sensitive equipment have been destroyed. As per NYT, U.S. military communication infrastructure is highly classified, making it difficult to determine which exact systems may have been affected. But Iran had its eyes locked. Its targeted locations indicate that Iran was aiming to disrupt the U.S. military's ability to communicate and coordinate. The Iranian strikes potentially affected U.S. communication systems in Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates. Let us begin by understanding the damage Iran has caused to U.S. military equipment in Bahrain. According to NYT, on February 28th, Iran's one-way attack drone struck a radome in the U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet headquarters in Manama, Bahrain. The base is the United States' primary hub for coordinating naval operations in the Middle East. Satellite imagery taken of the headquarters the following day showed that at least one additional radome was destroyed. The two demolished structures were ANGSC-52B SATCOM terminals, which play a key role in facilitating high-capacity and near real-time communication for the U.S. military. Amid the ongoing conflict, Iran struck Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar on March 1st, destroying a tent surrounded by satellite dishes. Some of the dishes are also most likely damaged. Al Udeid is the U.S. military's largest base in the Middle East. Iran hit a radome the American military used for communications with a ballistic missile at the same base during the 12-day Iran-Israel war last June. In Kuwait, at least 3 radomes had been damaged or destroyed at Camp Arifjan. 50 miles northeast, at the Ali al-Salem Air Base, at least 6 buildings or structures adjacent to satellite communication infrastructure were damaged or destroyed, as per NYT citing a satellite imagery. The same area of the base was hit again, with 2 additional buildings near the satellite equipment heavily damaged. On night of February 28th, the IRGC announced that the Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia had been targeted with missiles and drones. The following morning, satellite imagery captured a mile-long smoke plume rising from a building connected to the site. On March 3rd, another satellite image captured the structure was largely destroyed. The building that was hit is close to a radome and sits within a fenced-off area roughly 6 miles east of the main base. Just outside Al Ruwais in the UAE, several structures were damaged in an Iranian strike. At Al Dhafra Air Base, satellite imagery showed tightly clustered buildings and tents within a compound about the size of a football field, heavily damaged. The base was struck again in the same general area, according to satellite imagery captured on March 2nd, as per the New York Times. From Bahrain to Qatar, Kuwait to Saudi Arabia, and the UAE, the pattern is unmistakable. These were not random strikes, they were calculated hits on the digital nervous system of the U.S. military presence in the Middle East. The invisible architecture that allows modern warfare to function is now scarred, damaged, or destroyed. Iran is not just aiming at bases, but at the very command and control backbone that links them together. In a brazen escalation, Iran reportedly carried out a drone strike on America's Central Intelligence Agency's CIA station in Saudi Arabia.